Hey YouTube, 5 minutes in, just gonna have a wee blast on the guitar until people join in. Wonderful! Faster than that. Daniel Pontiac! Lead runner. Oops, wrong button. And this time I managed to stay awake. I had to start 5 minutes early just in case I fell asleep though. Four minutes more jamming. Cameron! Okay, so nearly falling over on the floor implies it's time to start the bucky and maybe might wake me up a bit. Hey, Pontiac Moth Code's my girlfriend. She's in Taiwan just now. Taipei? Oh god, I've forgotten it. Anyway, yeah. Hey, Taylor Made Music. This might not be particularly long, and it might be quite a garbled. I mean, this is my 5th day in a row drinking. I was down at I was a wee bit sneaky this week. I did all my videos in advance, and I was down at my pal's house in Colville, which is basically right next to Castle Donington, where Download normally is. I've been going down with my pal Wayne to Download for about 3 times, and then the last 2 years it's been cancelled. So I thought, sod it, he's just he had a heart operation, so I'm coming down anyway. So like 4 of us went down or met up down there and basically just drank in his shed for 4 days. There's a biker pub at the end of his street that was doing a sort of a wee mini festival thing, but I don't know how many bands he had on, 20 or something like that, which was only like a couple hundred yards away. So I did get to see about between half a dozen and 10 live bands. And when I say see, it means I was actually there and I saw them. Not that I particularly remember all of them or was entirely awake during it, but I can't handle the lots of drinking. But drinking in a shed was fun. Just the first couple of days, my pal Peter was there. He's Slovakian, and apparently it's Slovakian custom to whenever you've got guests around, you just go shot. So we're constantly, whenever I started feeling a little bit down, it was like shot. So we'd like shot glasses, and after a few days of that, of kind of getting a bit and then getting picked back up again, it starts to take its toll. I kind of feel it just now. Yeah, so I did it as a sort of Trade Tuesday. I've been talking about this for a while. This is my new guitar, which I've just literally been playing for, what time is it now, 8 o'clock? 20 minutes, something like that. It's actually set up pretty well. It's quite beat up though. I don't really... I'm going to get my scratch restorer out and see if I can find it. It's a 1985 Aria ZZ. And one of my favourite basses, the one that I always talk about that I sold, it was my second ever bass, and I sold it because it was this shape, and it was turquoise, like turquoise to dark blue sunburst, and I was playing Rolling Stones and Beatles songs with this, which now I would totally do, but back then it was like I needed a more normal one, so I sold it, and I always regretted it. I got it back 20 years later. So this is the guitar version, sort of. So this is a 1985, and by we're good guys. We played a wedding in Dundee last night. Irish couple have never been so much Guinness. Oh, the other guys were drinking Guinness. We went to Wayne knows I like the Bucky, so he's got like it's not Benedictine monks, it's Trappist monks, which are basically. I forgot to take my phone, so I never actually got photos of the Abbey, but the Abbey looks very much like the one on a Bucky bottle, as in it's sort of Abbey shaped, and it's like, they brew ale, and oh my god, this stuff was awful. It really was. It's like we tried it in a wee in the Abbey cafe with like a sort of high tea type thing. Took in a bottle, we had like a one bottle between the 4 of us and a wee glass, and this stuff was like, I don't know. I mean, I've never really licked the road, but it kind of, I think that's what it sounded like. It was it tasted like. It really was horrible stuff. So I'm going to try next time. I'm going to try to see if I can get the guy. I mean, the monk guy was absolutely lovely. Brother Martin. It's like very clean looking. Yeah, that sounds like fun. I will post it on Pointy Guitars. Yes, I might clean it up a little bit. There's a couple of things about this that I really like. ESP shape. Pre-ESP, this is 1985. So before this, the Aria ZZ series was... is this actually a ZZ? That is. Yeah. It was a bit more normal in 1985. I've got a couple of guitars that they were sort of doing facelifts on the Aria range rather than making entirely new guitars. So this one's called a Blade Runner. I don't know how, no copyright infringement, obviously, because it's got blade pickups. It's also got a Caller. I think it's actually a Caller. A Caller made in USA Flyer bridge. This isn't the right tremolo arm. It sort of fits. I don't think it should come up as high as this. I've got a Washburn with a Caller copy, like a Japanese Caller in it. I'm not really that much of a fan. I've got a few things to do to it. I think I might just ditch this top nut because it kind of looks all right there. When you look at it from the side, it's floating. It's a floating nut. Well, it's not the nut. The nut's still got a normal nut. It's like there's just a clamp, so I might just ditch that or try and put something else on it. Let's go. Big stuff. Everyone Proclaimers to the Clash to Dolly Parton. That sounds like a good medley, and if you did it in a heavy metal style, even better. I know you broke the headstock off your Les Paul. Don't throw it away yet. When you say broke off, Did it actually come right off? I hope it didn't. And it's not that easy to stick it back on again. If it's just split, then you can just stick PU glue in it and clamp it, and it should be fine. That happened to my SG, which you can't see because the camera's moved. I actually had it down with me at Wayne Load. The thinking was, in Wayne's shed, he's got it set up like a man cave. It's full of guitars and amps, and basically it looks like in here, apart from it's a shed. It basically just ended up too drunk and too hyper to actually do any videos. So I did I had my GoPro and I did like a sort of 2-minute quick thing, which I'll put out on my Trade Tuesday thing, but never actually did any proper videos. It was, time is for drinking. Not been able to do it, but it's the first time I've been away. I've spent a night away from the house and, well, at least 18 months, I would have thought. Something like that. It's like just being somewhere else was amazing. Yeah, no, I'm glad everyone's doing gigs again. It's like, it was kind of surreal going back into places where you could go to a gig when everyone was being a little bit cagey. Everyone was kind of a little bit awkward, there wasn't actually any standing right next to the person next to you. Everyone was kind of trying to give each other room and all that. And it was kind of strange. And it wasn't, I think they hadn't sold very many, they'd intentionally sold not very many tickets to the gig, so the place wasn't pure packed. It was a wristband only affair. It was only 20 quid for the ticket. So I think it was maybe 20 bands. There would have been 20 bands. I saw £1 a band. How can you go wrong? And they were all. There's an album out. It's apparently a couple. I don't know how recently made it into the UK top 10. It's called The New Wave of Classic Rock, or The New Wave of British Classic Rock, which I'd never heard of. But apparently a lot of these bands had done like a couple of tracks each on this double CD thing, and they timed it really cleverly so that it came out when there wasn't a lot in the charts, and they managed to get top 10. So basically half the bands that were there were officially UK top 10 bands. Fantastic. Yes, ZZ Blade Runner, or we would say ZZ, but doesn't. Obviously, it's still ZZ Top, because over this side of the pond, it's XYZ, not XYZ. Don't know why that works. I always remember that from Sesame Street. So why is it Z? Americans. It sounds terrible with having snapped the head off a Les Paul, though. I mean, I think there's I don't know. You see people trying to deal with it. The idea, because obviously Les Paul's got an angled back headstock. This is a Strat neck. Basically, it's a Strat, but it's this shape. That sometimes needs some sort of retainer to get a decent angle on it. But the whole bendy back head thing is basically, it's a bad design. And you see quite a lot of guitar. Well, some of the ones I like. I'm trying to look at one that's maybe got that. Does this have it? That one does. Yeah. So you can kind of do that with it. Then you can put a big wide bit on there. And I know Gibson did that for a bit, and everyone complained because that's not a real Les Paul. Real Les Paul doesn't have the bit. Obviously, that doesn't make any difference to the sound, can it? I can't imagine there's any flex in there, but that just makes it much less likely to snap. That's my other new guitar, which is not ready for display yet. This is I haven't found out yet, but possibly it's an early A20 Washburn. So power sustained pickups through neck, even though you're going to paint the whole guitar black all the way through, and it's got gold binding. I'm sure it will clean up quite nicely. Ebony fingerboard, the coolest inlays on the planet. So this is the top of the range stage series, which I will hit off the light. The very light, very light lampshade. So I'll get a video of that coming up maybe during the week, because I've now got a 5, which is it's got a Telecaster control plate, a bolt-on neck, and a 10, which is a set neck version of that. Well, it's slightly less fancy. It doesn't have as much, doesn't have the gold binding, doesn't have the fret markings, doesn't have coil splits. And then there's A20. There is an A15, which I'm going to have to consider selling one of my A20s to get the 15, just so I've got the set, and I've got the 8-string bass. I've got the B20, which is basically that shape, apart from it's got 4 extra tuners down at the bottom for the thin strings, like a 12-string guitar. I figured I don't need the B20 bass, which is just like a 4-string version, because I've got the 8-string. So arguably it's the same guitar, but the 8-string's better. Incidentally, if you want one of those 8-string basses, there's one on Reverb for $3,500 just now, which is like three and a quarter grand more than I paid for mine at a shop. Yeah. All right. Hey, Craig, bought an Aria Pro 2 SL ST2. 90 quid delivered. I bet it's good. I bet it's amazing for 90 quid. I'm not really sure. SL, I think, I'm expecting that to be like a Korean early 90s number. It's probably like a Super Strat. Have played a few of them are great. It's just that I'm not that mad into Super Strats. I kind of like before the Super Strat era came about. You know, like, I think it probably just comes back to when I started playing the guitar, 1990, or even before when I started knowing what a guitar was, getting into Black Sabbath and stuff like that, 1995 or 1996 or whatever, when I was 16 or whatever. And then I got a guitar when I was 18. So at that time, all the Super Stratty things were quite popular in the shops, and I was going to guitar shops, and it's like, but the music I liked was Black Sabbath, the Stones, the Beatles, the Who. I didn't like any of the so I wanted. That was why I get rid of my Aria ZZ, although that's a bit more ridiculous. So never really that into it. I'm talking about ZZ Top. I heard that Dusty, I don't know his name, Dusty, the bass player, died, which is a shame. Never a massive ZZ Top fan, but I've probably gone back maybe 10 years. The Old Grey Whistle Test, there's a version of them doing Cheap Sunglasses, and it is just, it's the best. It's one of those ones where you get like a total, I think, I've heard other versions of Cheap Sunglasses. It's all, I bought the record after that. It's pretty good in the record, but this live one on Old Grey Whistle Test is just one of those, you know, lightning in a bottle type things, which is just like, it's absolutely perfect, and there's so little going on. It's like, I'm not even going to try and go, dun, dun, dun. It's like the guitar's just pure giving it. Ba bam bam ba bam bam. Kind of that sort of thing. Amazing. Hey JP, how's it going? Hey Jeff, you cut up. This might not be a long one. I'm 50 in a row on the Bucky. No, I can't be 50 on the Bucky. I only took 3 bottles with me, thinking I'm only going for 4 nights, so 3 bottles is enough. But we're drinking whiskey and beer, and I took a bottle of green Mad Dog, actually. First time I've had. And they started making Kiwi Lemon Mad Dog again, because I was going to make a Mad Dog guitar about a year ago, and I bought Mad Dog, and it was all they had was, what did I end up buying? Electric Watermelon. It was horrible. And to be honest, the green one, I don't remember drinking it. We did drink it. I think we were actually drinking it as shots. Like, no, everyone was drunk, so nobody cares. Like, I thought this is neon green. Everyone's like, oh, that's not bad. You know, it's like not realizing it's only 13% and it's apple wine rather than being whiskey. But it was still fun, so it just didn't last very long. So the SL, I don't know. I mean, Aria are pretty good though, and the Korean ones will be Samick, so it'll be very similar to. Actually, my pal James gave me a guitar the other day to basically do a video of it. An Aria, a Samick built Aria. It's a TA40 or something like that. So it's like a 335, but slightly smaller, slightly pointier. And it seems really nice, but that was just before I went away for a week. So I've not actually even had, apart from just having a quick strum at it, they gave me an amp as well to go with it, because he bought it for his brother, but he hadn't taken it to him yet. So my pal wants to do a video for it. And all that. Speaking of that, I've actually got another unboxing video coming next week. My pal James bought a Washburn Wing about 10 years ago, but it was like 10, 15 years old, new old stock, still in the box. I've played that. It's a Samick one, so it's kind of like an Epiphone Les Paul from the 90s, apart from it's Washburn Wing shaped. And he bought 2 of them, and he's never opened the other ones. He's like, do you want it? And you can open it on video. People seem to like that. So I was like, yes. So I don't even know what colour it is, but it's like a brand spanking new Washburn Wing, like never opened. Exciting. Yeah. Hey Taylor, I ever played a 12-string bass, mad strings, 4 course, so the normal bass strings plus unison octave strings. I did see a guy who did a second octave for each strings too. A second octave? So, like, wow, I can't imagine. And the answer is yes, and I nearly bought it. Because I've had the 8-string bass for 15 years or something like that, a few years later, I was in Guitar, and it was I'm thinking Kramer. Was it a Kramer? I think it was a. Was that a Kramer? Can't remember. It wasn't the most exciting looking bass. It was just black, and it was sort of like a slightly pointy P bass, but it was a 12-string. And as you say, like the 8-string bass is like, it's like a 12-string guitar. You've got a normal bass string, like for your E, and then above it you've got like a guitar-sized E string, and so all the strings are doubled. And it's like, you know, it does a 12-stringer sound. And I went in and I was like, 12 string, no way. I was like, can I get a shot of that? And the guy was like, that pure. Really? And I was like, yeah. Give it. So I got a shot of it, put it on, and I started just thumping away on it because I had the 8-string bass. I know what you can play on it, and it was like all the staff are going. We could, you know, imagine about 10 staff and all folks like, because no one's ever heard of it. They've obviously had it in and going, what the hell are you meant to do with that? Whereas I know you give it ace of spades and a bit of fuzz, you know. It sounds amazing. James said, Eliminator. It's easy to. Is Eliminator the legs one? I always liked legs. Eliminator. Yes, Afterburner's the one after it. Yeah, Eliminator's awesome. Legs and Sharp Dressed Man and all that. But they've also got like an earlier. I actually used to play some of the songs in Cranking House, which I'd never really heard. Tush and I can't remember what the other one was we used to play. Lagrange. And they're good, but they're kind of a little bit too on the bluesy side of things, whereas Cheap Sunglasses is right slap bang in the middle, where it's starting being a little bit something a little bit different. I need to. I've got, was it the album called Tres Hombres or something like that? I actually decided to try Mexican food because on the gatefold, when you open it up, it's got like a picture of like neon Technicolor Mexican food. It's just like, you know, all the greens and the oranges and the reds, and it looks really good. So I decided to try Mexican food after that, and I made fajitas, and I haven't made them for a while actually, but I went through a fajita phase. It was great fun. And yes, I'm 5 days in a row drinking, and it was like, but it gets to the point where you kind of drink more to try and wake back up again. I totally gave up last night. Last night I got to, I think it was about 10 o'clock. We were at the pub, and it was just like I hit a wall, and I just couldn't finish my cider at all. And it was just like pure, and it was just everyone just bang, because that had happened a few times. And then, you know, you have a kebab and it's like, nah, energy again, or you have a couple of shots and energy again. That was just like the end of that. So basically I gave up and just slept all last night, and then I had to drive 6 hours on the way home. Tom Hamilton. I don't know who Tom Hamilton is. I probably should. He's not the guy in Cheap Trick, is he? Because a guy in Cheap Trick plays a 12-string bass. I know that. It still annoyed me whether was that a Dean 12-string bass? I can't remember who it is that makes them. It was one of those things. The thing is, the one I saw, it wasn't that expensive. It was like 300 quid or something. It wasn't like a pure pricey one. It had whatever the make was, whether it was Kramer or Dean or something. It was a good make. It's just it wasn't particularly interesting. Whereas the 8-string bass I've got looks like that, and it's got the tuners at the bottom, so it's already mental anyway. And it's got like a tiger top and all that stuff. So it's a fantastic looking instrument in its own right, just for hanging on the wall. Whereas if you've got the 8-string, I don't think there's really anything you could really do with a 12-string that you can't do with an 8-string, maybe. And the 8-string's a kind of useless instrument. The reason you don't get them all the time is because what band can you use them in? Because if you're the bass player, the guitarist's just going to be like, going to get out my frequency range. And if you're the guitarist, then why are you playing the bass? I think it would be really good to hear it in the Cheap Trick. Yes, I'm sorry, I don't know the names of the guys in Cheap Trick. Don't really know that much Cheap Trick. It was only when YouTube came out and I saw The Dream Police. And I was like, that's an absolutely amazing song. It's got a really good video on it as well. Because before that, I would just buy records like in the record shop, obviously. But when I was at uni, and back then records were cheap. It's like, I see, when I started buying records, it's because CDs were 15 quid, or I could go in and buy maybe 10 records for that 15 quid, you know, like half a dozen at £1 and a couple of £2 and stuff like that, and just get ones that I like the name of or I like the cover. So I bought quite a lot of absolute rubbish, but I found so many things that were just nuts. Me and Wayne had a budgie moment actually down at Waynestock. The other guy, Martin, had fallen asleep, and we're sitting there like, what do you want to listen to? You're sitting in the shed drinking after all the bands had been on, and it was like, stick on some budgie. He's like, who are budgie? And I was like, you know, and it's just like, I can't do the bass and the guitar at the same time. But budgie, if you've never heard of budgie, look up budgie. Their biggest hits were covered by Metallica, and I think, is it Bread Fan? Bread Fan's the one that Metallica did on like a proper album, and then I think later on, Lars, although I pure can't stand the wee guy, I think he intentionally wanted to put Budgie songs on some other album. I think they did another couple of Budgie songs so that Budgie got some recognition and got some money, because I don't think Budgie ever really made it, even though I think they did 10 albums or something. They never really, nobody knows who they are. That's what I was saying about buying records with crazy covers. The one I bought was called Bandolier, and it was like a it's kind of reminded me of Planet of the Apes. In Planet of the Apes, you get the horse with the ape standing with like a bolt action rifle on a horse. Well, this was like a Budgie head on it though, and it was like, that's just got to be awesome. They also got their logo done by the same guy, Roger Dean, who did like Yes album cover, so it's got that very much that logo thing. Fantastic. Tom uses distortion as well. Well, it's like, the thing is, it just gives you a total slap. It sounds like Herd Elephants. I've done a few videos of the 8-string bass. I'll need to dig it out when I do the stage series. I need to do a big one where I play all of them in a row, sort of thing. Hamer. It wasn't Hamer, it was Kramer. I was saying it was a Hamer one, or a hammer. A Hamer, so. And you're a Budgie fan. And Bread Fan. Bread Fan's good. I can't remember which one Bread Fan is. But there's an album called If I Were Britannia, I'd Waive the Rules. And it's just amazing. It's got a song called Anne Again, like a girl's name. It's like, and again, and again. And it's so... It must be so much fun being the bass player. It was Buck Shelley who's the bass player and singer. But the riffs are stunning. Me and my pal G used to call them the half riff, because it's kind of like, you know, like in Purple Haze it goes da 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 da, first half, second half, da 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 da. Budgie would just go da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da. Like that, and it's just like taking the most amazing riff ever and just keep it going. Budgie Welsh, The Whistles, Metallica, Sad But True. I don't know that much Metallica. Tom Hammond is the basis of Aerosmith. It's Tom Peterson that plays in Cheap Trick, does a 12-string thing. That's why I didn't know. I didn't know. I don't know enough. I couldn't name anyone in Cheap Trick. In Aerosmith, I could probably name Joe Perry and Steve Tyler. That's kind of it. That's a good. How many albums did we buy just because of the cover? Yeah, well, they didn't have YouTube or any way of hearing these things or download them, so you had to just go straight for it. I mean, the thing is, the thing about me when I was buying them as well, it's like people had to. All my pals had to do that with CDs. You know, it's like, oh, Led Zeppelin. I've heard a couple of their songs. I remember my pal, he got like a grant from uni. He spent £100 in CDs, so he got like 6. And it was like, he got Houses of the Holy, Cream Greatest Hits. I can't remember what else was on it. I think he might have bought The Wall, which is like £30 for the CD of The Wall. And I remember actually another guy coming home from, I got a lift home from the station, like the train station. It was that pure... He was raving on about it. I finally bought The Wall. So he's got The Wall on CD, because that was like pure hot. You're the god if you've got The Wall or the White Album. It was a £30 album. And I was like, I bought The Wall today. So I bought the record and I lifted it out. And he was like, you paid £3.50 for the album? And it's like, yeah. And then you take the bits out the wall, you open it up, and it's got like the lyric sheets and stuff in it. And it's like, I paid £3.50 for it. So you paid £35 for a CD. And it's like, which one's worth more now? It's like, oh, terrible. I don't know. The first time I saw an 8-string bass was actually I went to see John Paul Jones, the Led Zeppelin bassist, in the garage. He did an album called Zoom or Zuma. Zuma is a Neil Young album, and Zoom is an ELO album. But I'm sure it was called something very like that. And it was John Paul Jones and a guy playing a Chapman stick, which is like, you kind of finger tap it. The neck's about this wide, and it's got bass strings in the middle and guitar strings on the outside, and you play it like this. You don't strum it, and it's just like a stick, and you have it kind of strapped to your chest like this, and a drummer. So it was just, there was only the 3 of them. And John Paul Jones, they came out and he was playing these Hugh Manson basses, because he had a different one for every song. It was the first time I'd ever seen light up fret markings. And that's when I actually got to talk to John Paul Jones, because he came out the 3rd song with a 3rd 8-string bass or whatever it was he had. It was up here. Yes, it's another Hugh Manson song, and I being a dick. It was up here. Does it light up? And he went, no, this one doesn't light up. And then they played. I mean, they were stunning. The guy playing the Chapman stick was unbelievable. They were playing Trampled Underfoot. You know, bum bum ba-da-da-dum, ba-dum, bum bum, and the bass goes a-dum, 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 while and the guy was playing that on a Chapman stick, both the guitar and the bass parts, with an amazing drummer. And then John Paul Jones was playing like one of the Zeppelin slides. It was like a wrought iron frame with his like he's got a sort of looks like his propeller, you know, his the four cymbals thing. Had that actually built into the stand, so it was proper Zeppelin stuff. And we hung about outside after it with a kebab, as you do. And you saw him coming out with the flight cases, and it was like, you know, Zeppelin 1975 US tour actual flight cases, because he's obviously it's just the same one. Brilliant fun. Zuma is right. Yeah, okay. So Zuma, the Neil Young album, is spelled with a U, so it's Z-U-M-A, and the ELO album's called Zoom, Z-O-O-M. So it's kind of in the middle. Yeah, well, fantastic. But I don't know who. I don't. If you go back, I don't know when the first 8-string basses were kicking about. It could very well be. Like you say, it was invented in the late 50s by Eric Quadwitz. He played for Al Cooper. Possibly, I suppose it's. You give it a go. It's one of those things. I've got this great idea, and it's like, see if you're in a band where you're the only person playing. It's just like you and a drummer. Oh, that's going to be fantastic. You see, like Jack White or something like that. That'd be amazing. But if you've got, it's hard to play with somebody else because you're just all over the guitarist. You know, the guitarist, you're not going to hear him unless he's playing a Telecaster, pure spiking. General of the Pearl Jam. Aye. I mean, the 12-string is pretty amazing, but I suppose you could sort of do the 12-string one with a chorus pedal, because that's basically what you're going to get, because you've got the octaves, and then you've got 2 of the thin string, so they're obviously never going to be 100% in tune, which is why like the high strings on a 12-string guitar, you know, they're both the same. The B and the E are just doubled, so they've got a kind of chorusy vibe because they don't quite vibrate exactly the same. It's just got a slight. So I'd imagine it's kind of like a chorus. Hagstrom, because there's Jimi Hendrix played one. I've seen a picture of Jimi Hendrix play the Hagstrom one. Yes, and it was definitely 67 to 69 because that was when Hendrix wasn't dead yet. So they did exist. My pal Ivor actually bought a Hagstrom one. It's quite different to the Washburn. Is that the one that goes the other way? It might go the same way as a Rickenbacker. See, a Rickenbacker 12-stringer, instead of having the thin string on top, it's got the thick string on top. I think my pal Ivor's one, I think it goes that way, does it? So on an 8-string bass, you kind of need to play with a pick. So when you strum down, you hit the thin string, and then the thick strings, obviously, you make thin string sits there, the thick string sits like that. So you're always going to hit the thick string if you've hit the. Whereas if you did it the other way around, if you're plucking it, playing it with your fingers, you're going to hit the thin string, then the thick string. That makes sense? Not enough lot's going to make sense. The bucky is flowing though. Hey Jez, on the road. On the road again. Oh. But the Hagstrom is actually really nice. It's new. Well, they still make it. It's not super expensive. I don't imagine it's. I think Hagstrom were originally German. I'd imagine it's like Korean or Indonesian or something like that. But I think they're about 600 quid, something like that. But his is much more guitar-y than mine. The Hagstrom's much more guitar-y, as opposed to mine is basically a bass with the strings added. His is more kind of like I don't know if it's maybe a short scale, but it's kind of like if you imagine taking like a 12-string guitar and turning it into a bass, it's kind of more like that rather than starting off with a bass and turning it into an 8-string guitar. Oh, Chris Squires one. That'll be the guy from Yes. I don't know enough about Yes, and he doesn't it. Hagstrom seen Pat Smear. Really? I quite like Pat Smear. He's funny. I don't necessarily really like the Foo Fighters, though. I was arguing with one of my pals about it the other day. No, I wasn't arguing with him. I was down at the. Like, what was it? I can't remember what his point was. His point wasn't my point. My point about the Foo Fighters, I feel that there's too much rhythm guitar, and there's like 3 of them playing rhythm guitar, and there's not enough lead. It's just like 3 rhythm guitars, which I always find a bit annoying. His point was something else, though. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was valid as well. Because how can you not like the Foo Fighters? I like some of their songs, but I don't like the sound of the band. Does that make sense? Whereas someone like Judas Priest, kind of like all their songs because they've got this sound. I like the sound, and same with someone like Creedence Clearwater or or AC/DC. If you like one song, you're kind of gonna like the other ones, even if they all sound different. But the Foo Fighters are a bit more. They've got some songs that kind of stick out as being particularly catchy, but a lot of them are just a bit chordy for me. Probably not very hit and miss German. It could be. I don't know. The Hagstrom thing. TaylorMade. I was using my 12-string acoustic sound of my Variax. I don't know what a JTV 69 is. That the new one? When I say new, I mean in the last 10 years. The Yamaha one, the Yamaha Pacifica type thing that's got a Variax in it. I think the Yamaha buy Variax, so they did a deal or something like that. I've got saved it as a Helix patch, so and even as a capo in the fifth to make it sound like the mandolin. Well, there you go. You're in there. I'm going to have a really controversial thing to talk about for all the bands I saw at the Vic Bikers pub. See the difference between the bands that were using an amp and the bands that were using I've forgotten the name of it. What's the digital modelling thing? It's like a head, but it's got lots of knobs on it. It's not the Helix. They're bloody expensive. You could totally tell, and it's like it just sounded. It's like you're listening. The guy playing the rhythm guitar on a Marshall with a couple of pedals sounded like a live guitar, and the other guy sounded like he was playing a CD. He was miming. Oh, it was. Yeah, well, it's the modelling versus Kemper. It's the Kemper thing, and maybe I'm just a dick or I'm out of date or whatever, but I just feel that it doesn't. Yes, if you're recording, it sounds like if you take a real amp and you go into the studio and you set it up to get the sound, you end up and it's like, yeah, that's what you want the sound to be on the record or the CD. But if you're playing live, you want to play live, you want to see it. The same thing happened, but I remember seeing a band that they had. The drummer had an electric kit, like an expensive one, like a Roland £2,000 thing, and the drums didn't sound like real drums because although it did sound exactly like when the Levy breaks on the record or something, it didn't sound like real drums because when you're in the room with a real drum kit, you can feel the kick drum in your chest. There's frequencies that come out of an acoustic kit that don't come through in a record. That's the art of using the record, of recording, do you know what I mean? But there's frequencies up here that you can't hear them, but you know they're there. And that's the difference with a real, and it's the same thing with the Kemper. Or too much distortion, and every band seems to do too much distortion because it's like you can imagine them sitting there with headphones or sitting in the house getting their sound right, and then going and playing at a gig. It's not the same thing. The sound, you want the sound guy to do that, so you want to just turn up with like a Marshall JCM 800, or what I want to do is turn up with the Sovtek or a Marshall JCM 800 or whatever, with maybe like a wee boost pedal or something, and then just have that sound, and then everyone's like pure. That's a real amp, and you can tell. AXX Paps, happy Sunday. Day 5 of solid drinking for myself. The first time I've had 5 days solid drinking since I don't even think Download the last time I was out, was that be 2-3 years ago? Was the last time there was a chance I was doing 5 days solid drinking? That Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. It was Download 2018. Last time it was on. I think it's the last time I drank 5 minutes ago. Modelling is not as good in recording. Maybe it doesn't give you as much to mess about with. Kemper is great in a mix with a band, but won't do what Crank Marshall will do in terms of feeling cranked alone. Sort of, but the thing is, I'm not listening to folk playing a Kemper on their own. They're in a band, but there's a noticeable difference between it's obviously the lead guitarist that's got the Kemper, and then the rhythm guitarist, and the rhythm guitarist just got a much more basic setup, and it sounds like a real amp. It's very different. Yes, the frequencies. I don't know what the frequencies are or anything like that. And I suppose there's so much you can model, but the being in the room, part of the sound, especially not so much with the bass, but with the guitar, part of the sound of a guitar is the amp that does the sound, and the amp and the speakers are the sound. So you can model that sort of, but it's not the same as actually being in the room. And harmonics, yes. Actually, I saw a band, I mentioned this in the video I'm going to put out on Tuesday. They're really silly, called Iron Panther, who are a sort of, not Iron Panther, Iron Cobra, no, Iron Python. They're kind of like Steel Panther, like a rip-off, basically, apart from they're from Colville, which is where I was. We've got a song called Colville Girl. But they are much more carry-on humour, or like AC/DC Bon Scott humour, not as in your face as Steel Panther. So much funnier and much rubbisher. Just local guys, but they were fantastic. And the bass player I was talking to had an Aria bass, so I was like best bass of all the bands, definitely an Aria SB1000, and the sound was just phenomenal. And I told him that. I was after we were standing in a beer. My pal Wayne knows the guy, works with him in the bins. I was happy. Yeah, you're bass, the best sounding bass of the whole weekend. I was happy. It was the worst played one, but the bass itself sounded great. I felt really guilty after that because they're a sort of piss take band. I was hoping I was in the right vibe. But he's happy. Yeah, I turned up and there wasn't an amp. The difference there was, so he was just DI'd straight into the desk, and it was the sound guy had total control. That's why his bass sounded amazing, because the sound guy knows exactly what the room sounds like. He'd already done 10 bands the day before, do you know what I mean? So he obviously knew exactly what he was getting, rather than someone, a prima donna like me, turning up with this and going, oh, here's a DI signal. And it's like, you don't need a DI if you're playing through that. I've got my sound. My sounds is the sound I like when we're playing in the studio. I don't know what this particular room sounds like. Maybe if you're a proper sound guy, you probably, this room's dead bassy, so you need to boost the mid frequencies and stuff like that. So because this guy had the bass player from Iron Python had a DI, the bass was just absolutely punching and sounded the best, by far the best. And they were not the most expensive band there. They were actually on last, which is like, you think, headlining. It's quite clever. What they done is they put the main band on second last, so everyone's there to see. They were called Scam. We never saw them. We were getting a kebab at the time. We were going back for Iron Panther and Iron Python. And so what we've done is, like, because of the two stages, they had them playing on the big stage outside. Then the inside, they had a sort of rubbishy band for people to finish their pints to, sort of thing. And I thought it was a great idea, having like an after the headliner band. But they're fantastic fun. Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm actually getting behind. I'm talking too much rubbish, and I've lost my cursor. So if you can spike the likes, I'll do some businessy stuff when I try and do that. That'd be awesome. Apparently it makes a big difference. I keep seeing that. I noticed Andersons have started doing that in every video. It's always be, remember, like and subscribe and put the likes. Apparently it makes some difference to, cheers, number 8. It makes some difference to algorithms. I don't really understand any of that stuff. Yeah, frequencies work. Use a Kemper, Cameron, and I spent more time modelling and dialing in my terms of recording. Yeah, see, I'm sitting here being all high and mighty saying, what I like a true valve amp through it's a 3x12 I've got. Partly because I just like to have don't have to really want to be messing about with it and concentrate on what I'm playing. I'm not a knob twiddler. That could be a t-shirt. Yeah. So it's like, I know what you mean. It's like, I find that, see, I had an amazing pedal. One of the funniest demos I ever did, and every comment on it is hilarious, because I'm trying to do this pedal, and the thing is, I've just remembered why I used to love the bass. You'd stand between songs on that, you could rest both your arms on it, and at the time the guitarist had a Jackson Kelly, and he did the same. The two was like that. You can rest your hands on the outside of one of these, on an Explorer type bass. Totally off topic now. Completely forgot what I was talking about. Yes, not having too many, and it was, all the sounds on it were great, and it was quite well set, like a digital display. It's probably 10 years old or something like that, but it showed you like the pedals, and it like a wee display of the pedals, so you could have like, the chorus pedal, or you could move it between the chorus pedal and the thing, and a button for each pedal, so you could basically set it up with your tube screamer, or your fuzz pedal, tube screamer, delay, reverb, whatever order you wanted, and then you had a button for each one, and it was dead simple to use. And I think if you pressed the button, there was some way of selecting the button, and then the 3 EQ knobs with the 3 controls, and it was just too much. It's like, I just couldn't bend my head around it because it was just too much going on. I just kind of want the one sound that's good, and then I'll try and work out a little bit. Feeling the air move, my 4x12 that's been driven hard is hard to replicate. Yeah, I get that. But I mean, see, your 4x12s, there is a superior cabinet to a 4x12, and that 3x12, you can really see it, but it's like the bottom speaker's kind of pointing up the way, so that when I'm standing here, I can hear that speaker. It's not blasting over there, and that speaker is pointing that way, and that speaker is pointing that way. See the difference that makes? It's nuts. I mean, it might be it's probably a sound engineer's nightmare, but what a difference it makes when you're in the studio. You turn the amp a bit more round to me so I can hear it and stuff. And it's like with that thing, because I've got like instead of being you get that, there's all the sound coming out your amp. It's that comes out the amp, so you can stand at the side or right in front of it and hear it. And I don't know why the 3x12 hasn't taken off. I mean, I've never even seen another one. Richie Sambora used a bank of them, apparently. I looked up when I got it. Oh, talking about John Eckmissel. He's one of my favourites. I said was only because he's no longer with us. I did get to see him live though, a couple of times. Entwizzle's Need for Volume was like he had the amp up at full, and the people at the back were going, "We can't hear the bass," so it's like volume's at full, so that's why I turned the treble up, and then suddenly you could hear it. And if you actually listen to quite a lot of John Eckmissel stuff, it's super mega trebly, just because it gives you so much more power. Reggae sound systems, yeah, chase the tone. Tone. Yeah, it's a dirty word, isn't it? It really is. It's going to be the air moving from the speakers can't be emulated. That's true, but the thing is, these guys with the Kempers, and maybe they didn't. I'm assuming. I mean, it was sitting on top of a cabinet, because obviously you can't just have a head sitting on the ground. You look stupid then. You've got to have it sitting on top of a cabinet. Whether the cabinet's plugged in or not, maybe not. You know, I would assume. I just assumed that the cabinet was kind of like a monitor, but then you've got the monitor, so maybe the cabinet's just there for sitting on. Because I mean, I think quite a lot of venues now. I've not been gigging properly for many years, but I think a lot of venues kind of have a 4x12, and they kind of have like a bass cabinet, like a 1x15 or 4x10 cabinet anyway, so you can just bring your own head just to make it more portable, so you get a chance of coming in one car rather than lugging about something like this. But for something like a Kemper, maybe it's more of a look thing. It's like, where can I put my Kemper? It's like, why don't you put it in that 4x12? And it's like the 4x12 is not plugged in. They're getting all their sound through the monitor system and stuff like that, but at least it looks cool. Maybe that's partly to do with it. Oh, I've got a wee bit behind, sorry. I'd buy an Obligor t-shirt. I might have to make one. Bass needs DI in, Mike. I think that there's probably an element. My pal Scott, you've probably seen in my videos, is a sound engineer, but it's like I've kind of managed to, after having known him for about a year, managed to start squeezing some information out of him. Like, see, normally when you meet someone who's worked with someone famous, they name drop like an idiot. Like I name drop Jesse Ray all the time. He actually messaged me with the week. He was like, "Do you have a fretless bass?" I'm thinking, yeah, Jesse wants me to play fretless bass on one of his songs. I was like, "No, I don't have one just now." Is that, can you get me one? It's like, he wanted me to build my bass, which is still pretty cool. But I mean, I'd say I'm name dropping because he's the only semi-famous person. But this Scott, it's like the people he's worked with is pure sick. And it's like he doesn't mention it. He doesn't name drop at all. He did tell me that Albert Lee showed him how to play Country Boy, like because they were on tour with him. I'm not saying anymore. He's worked with the Stones. No, I mean, it's like all the time. It's like, I'm talking about bands going up here. Yeah, it's it's up here. I really like blah 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 blah. And he's like up here. He's cool because he knows him. He's a sound guy, roadie type person. And he told me that basically what you want is I basically give the sound guy. I'm giving the two leads. Here's the mic from my amp, and here's the DI. Do your thing. Make it sound like what I'm hearing on stage. You know what I mean? He looks for sheer convenience between the Variacs and that kind of so many options. FX amp modeling, digital. Yeah, of course you can. Yes, it depends. You're talking about doing like a gig where you're after you're trying to emulate the same. I don't know. See, I'm a dick though. When it comes down to, I don't mind seeing the Stones when they're playing or during the sort of the 72, 73 tour when they're playing Angie, because you didn't get electroacoustics back then. It's kind of just a Strat that they've kind of not got the gain up very loud on. I kind of like that element of it. But I mean, I do understand there is an element of cutting in and playing, the exact sound of the record. People want that. People being not me, I'm a dick. It's like I like it raw. and horrible. I don't even know what a helix is. I assume it's is it a line 6 helix? So it's a similar sort of modelling thing. But I mean, that's what you're sitting there with that and the Variacs. There's so much on there. It's like I can't deal with it. I mean, I do. I did actually get a Variacs, just the cheap one, it's a 300, and it's like I could totally pretty much not bother with any of the electric guitar sounds, but like the sitar, the banjo, the stupid ones. Yes, because you can't do that with a guitar. Whereas I would rather just have a couple of humbuckers, coil split. That gives me all the guitar sounds I really want. I'm not really bothered about having like, oh, this is a Les Paul or a P90 or a Strat, and that's fine. I just a couple of coil split P90 humbuckers is the way to go. I'm actually more these days going a bit more just Stratty, which I never thought would happen. But being poor, but that'd be PV, which I've now relegated to the floor. I need to bring it back out again. It's nothing like as good as the Laney, but the Laney's like 400 quid new, like a couple of hundred anyway, second hand. Whereas that PV was 40 quid, and I could totally live with that. I think sort of. I add an extension socket. I'm not sure. One time I'm going to take it to the studio just to see if I can do 5 watts, because I was amazed that the Laney at 15 watts can do the band I'm in. It suits me fine. Doesn't sound as good as the Softtech, but it's there. Even not using the 4x12 in the studio, just using the internal speaker, which doesn't sound as good as the 4x12, but it's enough to play with. I wonder if the 5 watt is, but I'm not going for any specific tone. I just want a sound that I like, that I can sort of change the sound a little bit by the way I'm playing, if that makes sense. And the digitally transposed tunings I find really difficult. Neighbours and poor. I know I'm poor as well. I do have neighbours, and I really don't know. I've never had any complaints at all. Because I mean, okay, I'm doing it now. It's 9. I'm not playing volume. I don't play volume normally during the day, and maybe they quite like the music I play. I don't think so. They're all old. Maybe they're all old or a bit deaf. Actually, it's probably a much more. But I mean, the model, I can see the point of the model. I'm not dissing anyone for using it. I'm just, because I'm a dick. I'm quite happy just hearing the one guitar sound, and it's like using the volume control when I'm in the studio. I've tried taking pedals in, and especially with the Softtech, it really is a case that I couldn't get to sound better than it did with the Softtech. I just like had it at what's it set to? It's not particularly loud. It's like 4 and 4 on the volume and gain, and I changed the knobs to 666 because number of the beast. And it means I can just run full whack, and I've got a sort of distorted sound, and then roll it back to about 3/4, and it's kind of clean. That's all I need, and everything in between. I don't need anything more. Having a fuzzy open G Telecaster from a monophonic. Yeah, hold on. Having a fuzzy G open Telecaster one click away from a monophonic sawtooth synth and a baritone sitar is so much fun. I'm sure it is. Yes. It's like we're talking about tone. Tone's the thing we want to talk about. It's one of those things that's so vague that it can be anything. Because basically, I'm talking about tone. I mean, that's all. Tone is just the sound in it. So I like the tone of this guitar. It just sounds a little bit more, pipe smoky, beard strokey. I like the tone of the guitar. I'm not going. That's it. I like the sound of this guitar. But really, it's all you just mean the sound, isn't it? I need to get myself. My pal Wayne got me he bought himself a Marshall amplification T-shirt, and it was too big for him. So I've been fat. I've got it now, and I was thinking I'm going to make T-shirts that say Mad Malcolm guitars in the same writing in that text. I think that might be pretty cool. I need to set these things up. I just can't be bothered. Had some lines, Craig. I've had some Line 6 modelling stuff in a Boss GT10 pedal. Might have been a Boss GT10 I had. 1001 effects, also nearly the same. Just bought a Blackstar HT5 and plug in straight to that. The HT5's the wee valve, the wee tubey one, isn't it? I'm just a tube snob. The more knobs, the more knobs. Nope, the more knobs, the more twiddling you do. Yes, I got a Zoom pedal, $30, bass pick sounds. Yes, I mean, it's just whatever you like doing. Really, the thing with something like that, that's not the same as somebody using a Kemper, but I suppose it kind of is. It's just that a Kemper's like $1,000 or something. I don't know. Something like that. It's more expensive than like a Marshall JCM 800, or just because that's the one I think I want, because I think that's what the Softtech sounds like. Or there's a 30-watt version of that Laney I keep seeing, and I'm not going to buy it because I've got no use for it at all. But I bet you it's really good. I bet you it's like just that wee Laney apart from Gigable that would just do me smashing. I love the simplicity of traditional amps and pedals. I'm a software after developer, so the last thing I want to do is complicated computer-based guitar rig. I don't understand computers, and they annoy me. So just being plugged in and having it clean is the same. I'm also a bit of a volume freak as well. As you see, when we're down at Wayne's, you'll see he's got like an Engel Powerball. I don't know if it's a 50 or 100-watt head. He's got it on top of like two 4x12 cabinets. One of them I actually picked him up, which is the top one, and then the bottom one I told him about because it was near him. I think it was 20 quid. Didn't have speakers in it, so he's got that full of wine. So it's like a fake cabinet. But I mean, he's up here. What do you think of this? And I was like, can you turn it down? He's up here. Can you turn it down? Can you turn it down? Look, it was so loud. I couldn't. He's obviously trying to show off, but it's like trying to show off like a 100-watt valve head with a 4x12 in a room smaller than this. I can't handle it when it gets too loud. I just lose myself. The best upgrades on a 4x12 is like another one on too, possibly. There's a thing problem. I mean, I'm getting too much behind. I've never played through two 4x12s, but I have to say that in the Black Sabbath band I'm in, I think we're too loud, because I joined the Black Sabbath band first, and then they kind of know the other band I'm in. I ended up joining that, and I was going in and playing at the Black Sabbath volume. And at one point, I turned right down. I went from like 6 on the volume and again to 3, and suddenly it just became much clearer and easier and more controlled and everything. But the Black Sabbath, it sounds great. The Black Sabbath band being really loud and stuff. Obviously, you get up here, whoa, it's like, but it's I don't know. I quite like it a bit quieter. I bought a £20 pouch, like a bass preamp DI box. I just plug straight into a venue's desk. But I think it's the way of the future. It's just, is it rock and roll? Is it tone? I mean, the first gig we did with the Black Sabbath band, I took that, both cabinets, 15 and 4x10s, a 400-watt head, and the support band were Guns N' Roses. Back to the posters on the wall over there. Guns N' Rosie. There was a girl called Rosie who sang. It turned out her name actually, I found out later her name wasn't actually Rosie. I was disappointed. But the guys like that, he came in with one of these wee, I can't remember what type of amp it is. There's an AB or there's a certain type of power amp that you can get an amp, which means you can get like an amp that's the size of a VHS cassette, and it's 200 watt. And I was up here, can I use your cabinet? And I was up here, yeah, okay, yeah, no problem. And then what was even worse was there was a riser behind it. So actually this amp wasn't that height. It was that height because it was sitting on a step. And then he had his wee amp sitting, on top of that monstrous thing that's 6 feet tall. And it was my first comment was like, better not damage my cabinet with the weight there. But I mean, it sounded brilliant. It sounded great. I mean, it's like, I was ready to he only used one cabinet, because only one speaker out. But hey, Billy, how's it going? I'm on the 5th day of drinking, so I'm not going to be up for very long. I haven't played an amp in 15 years. Guess how we amp. Amps are great fun. They really are. But I mean, as you say, like a DI pedal, it's all you need. But as soon as I told the band I had that, you got to bring that. Because I mean, just for pure showing off, you just turn up. I actually saw the Sweet. Was it Sweet or Slade? I can't remember. They did an awesome backdrop, which was just made of speaker cabinets. Like a lot of bands used to play in the 80s, they would have like fake speaker cabinets. So they had a big massive wall of Marshalls, even though they're kind of only one of them was plugged in. So you get like a curtain that's got the speaker cabinets on it, which I thought was pretty cool. What we have today for sound tech is amazing. I'm glad to see Lara start with 2 cassette decks. I don't know. It's one. I don't understand. I think if you get a good sound guy, it's amazing. The two gigs I played, even though they were a year apart with the Black Sabbath band, because the singers quit after the first gig, and then it took us a year to get another singer ready, and then we had half a dozen gigs lined up, and then COVID hit. But it was actually the same sound guy a year apart in two completely different venues. And the second time we played, he was brilliant because he knew what we were doing. Just because we were like the guitarist got like Craig, he's an amazing guitarist, has got like a really expensive valve amp, and he's like 4x12 true valve amp, and you've got to turn it up to get the distortion. It was a different thing. Have I tried many Tokai guitars, JP? I've got one, but the problem with Tokai is people know about them, so you don't pick up one for 150 quid. Unless it's like you get modern Tokai, so like the Chinese ones, which I imagine are just, they're not going to be this level. Whereas nobody knows what an Aria ZZ Blade Runner is, so they slip through the net, on the net quite cheaply. Whereas a Tokai, people go, oh, the difference there being Tokai made an Explorer, probably. They probably made an Explorer, but they would have made it look like a Gibson Explorer. So you're talking about the same guitar as this, but 5 times the price. It's the same with like the Strats, some of the ones, well, maybe not the Blazer's kind of not quite a Strat, but if that had just been a bog standard, actual just a Strat made by Ibanez, Strat shaped, it'd be worth $1,000 because it's easily as good as my. It's easily as good as the Japanese Fender. It's easily as good, but that's looks like a Strat. So that's where Tokai sit in. The Tokai I do have is looks exactly like a Strat. I think the headstock's maybe a little bit off, but the only piece of wood on it's the fingerboard. It's got a carbon fiber neck and it's plastic, but it's actually fiber tech. It's got they put a name on it, but it's plastic, and it's surprisingly good. I really quite like it. I don't know enough about Tokai. That's the same as like, see if people talk about, oh, I like Japanese guitars, Burney, Edwards, Orville, those ones that you can get a guitar that's as good as a Les Paul for, instead of paying $2,500, you can get it for 1,200 quid, and it's better than, and it's like, yeah, you can get a Washburn Falcon for less than that, and it's better than both of them. Oh, controversial. I played, right, sorry. Daniel, you didn't have to. I wonder what was you retracted. When you said message retracted, I always wonder what it was he said. I'm sure it was nice. I mainly put a guitar through guitar via a Focus Scarlett. I don't know what that is. I assume it's some sort of modulating thing. I've kind of got I've got the option to play through a wee valve amp. I don't know. The neighbours don't complain about my noise. Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry, I'm getting. Is it the wee thing on the side doesn't look like I'm so near the bottom of the question? I'm sorry, I'm so far behind. The neighbours. My neighbours 4 o'clock in the morning listen to baby metal. Yeah. Because they don't have any choice, because that's what I'm playing. Yeah. The tone is almost like timbre, non-specific umbrella term that covers all the nuances and specific sound. They can't be filled under pitch, frequency, attack, delay. Got you. Non-specific. Aye, sorry. Good night, Simon. I know it's 9 o'clock here. Plus 7 is. You're working tomorrow. Sorry, I was so asleep earlier on when I came back from thing. But you've not listened to me because you've gone to bed. Rocking, love you. I feel like a bear. I thought you said I feel like a bear. In the 80s, I had a Gallon Kruger solid state, very small. I think. See one of the problems with the solid state versus valve thing, especially these days, is you're not really comparing like with like. You're not comparing £1,000 solid state amp with £1,000. It's not. I suppose solid state's your modelling thing, but the solid state was like they've got to a point where they just went, well, if it's going to be 400 quid, nobody's going to buy it if it's solid state. So we only make £400 valve amps. So when everyone says, oh, solid state amps are rubbish, you're talking about 10 watt, 20 watt, 30, like the wee Marshall 20, 30 watters and stuff like that, which is, it's like 120 quid new. and the tube version's 400 quid. So it's like, whereas if they made a £400 version of that, I'm sure it would compete much better. Yeah. Mothman's a woman. So nice to my girlfriend. Yes, thank you. Moth Codes. I thought, isn't that an amazing name for a band? It's like, I don't know if I'd like to think it was intentional. I think Moth Codes. I've got Moth Code t-shirts, but because I put on weight, they're a bit skin tight. Your mate looked all rock starry. Oh, with his sunglasses. Yeah, he was explaining them to me. They go black when it's the sun comes out. They darken, and then they like digitally. You can totally see it. When we went indoors, bang, you could see his eyes, and then as soon as he was outside, he just went. I'm pretty sure I saw them. I'm pretty sure it was, what is it? Not in a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You get special sunglasses that were to stop alarmingly, so you'd be walking about, sneaking about, and if anything really alarming happened, they would just go black, so you didn't see it, so you never got surprised. Yeah. Moths are nocturnal. Okay. I've been English since 10. I've got to sleep at least 5 hours. Yeah. So Sabbath's amazing. She sings Black Sabbath songs. Like, you get better. Old Encores from the 90s are good if you like Strats made from Indian ash, and the pickups are decent too, pretty well made, and can be picked up for next to nothing. If you're in Colville, you can pick up an old Encore Indian Strat, which is painted like Van Halen and Iron Brew at the same time. So it's like, is it blue with orange stripes? Blue with the orange checkerboard pattern on it. I put an extra pickup in it, and I kept the original pickups in it. They are fantastic. They really are. I wanted to keep that one. I was going to use it in the band, thinking I make Iron Brew guitars and Buckycasters, just to keep one and then play them as a sort of promo tool. But by the way I'd painted it like Van Halen, people are going to come out and expect me to be going, and I can't do that. So I just decided not to go for that. I know that some of it won't be annoyed. Sorry. D.W. Taylor Artists. Who for artist guitars? Are artists not? Are they modern? I think I'm pretty sure one of my pals, Ronnie's got an Artist, and it's very like my Antoria. It's even got the same font. It's like one of those ones where they in the 70s and possibly early 80s shops would buy guitars from the Japanese factories, and they would buy 50 or probably not as many as that 20 Telecasters. And it's like, what logo do you want for an extra £5? We'll put whatever the logo of your shop on it. Hensavon, Rose Morris, Shaftesbury, Antoria. I think Custom Artist might be there might be an Artist in there as well. Night Seven. I'm sure you've probably already gone to bed. Oh no, I've actually nearly caught up. Night Seven. Janta 2000 Super Chromatic Pearl Sensitive Sunglasses. Yes. Incidentally, if you're a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan, which I am, I've not read any of the books, but the radio show, if you hunt for it, it's on YouTube, and it's amazing. I bought the CDs. They kind of came back. I think they did. Is it 4 seasons they did on the radio? So the TV series is kind of the first season, and then there's a second season on the radio and the third season, and then that's like in the 80s and the early 80s, and then later on in the 2010s. They did CDs of the last 3 books. I think it goes up to the Quintessential. I think there might actually be a sexy something one as well, and they're fantastic. When am I going to get a haircut? I can't get a haircut. Once it falls out, I've not had a haircut this millennium. Once I start looking like Mel Smith, bald on top, long hair at the sides, I'll get it cut. Building backwards, I don't know. I can't get a haircut. I mean, it's like, how would you know I was a rocker? Don't worry. It takes more than that to offend it all. Hey Rob, I was going to phone you. To be honest, I'm on the fifth day of drinking, and the only reason I'm still up is because there's so much caffeine in Bucky. But thinking about you, man, love you. Pontiac, see if you're in Scotland. I don't think you wouldn't shout that out in the street. Hey, big Bobby, because Bobby's also your Yeah. No, it's obviously it's on humour. Yeah, no, so we're down at they weren't any drummers as good as you, don't worry, when I was seeing it. A couple of them are really bad actually. Like there was a guy played them. I can't remember the name of the band, so that's fine. Oh no, if I mentioned that they played a Judas Priest song. And he's like, see the double kick drum? Double trick drum can be fantastic. One of the reasons I really like Baby Metal is because they use it at the right times. Most bands do, but he was put double kick drum into bits because he could. Maybe it's just because I'm a mad Judas Priest fan, and it's like pure, and sometimes it doesn't fit. I think the trick with double kick drum is you do sometimes. Baby Metal can do it. Dragon Force are like intro riff, double kick drum, and then at the end of the song, that's when the double kick drum stops. You've got to have a bit. It's like the Black Sabbath thing. If you've got a light bit, that's much more effective than just coming straight in. Dynamics. That sounds a little bit like tone. I like my dynamics. Yeah, I totally got it. Those artist guitars look wicked. I don't know them. It does cost a bit. I just buy actually it was great fun to see being down at Waynload. We were kind of I said he's got a shed. So he's got a shed, which is kind of like this, like his man cave, and then he built an extension on that, which is sort of half outdoor with a couple of leather settees in it, or fake leather. And then he's got about 6 feet of lawn, which has got he's got like a pub umbrella thing on it with a table and chairs. And then the next 6 feet of lawn is a big massive tent. And then I think his lawn's dead basically now. And then the next bit, he's got like an extension on the back of his house. And in the back of his house, he's got another extension. He's extended, but we're in his obviously at his house. He's got kids and a wife and stuff like that. And it was like having a shower and going in, and it was just see the choice of different types of shampoo and hair conditioner. What was that? I was like pure Lynx. Oh, I've not seen that stuff. So it's like we were coming out after the photos of separately going in for a shower. So I said, "What did you go for?" I was like, up here. I went for apple moontan, and it's like because she's sitting there, you get so much choice because I normally have one container and it's run out because I get so many. I just stealing all the stuff. So, and every day I brush my teeth, I brushed it with different toothpaste. Rocking. Sometimes I move it. Need to look up only available mail order. See, the problem with that is you can't see them. You have to buy one and see if they're good. And then I suppose you look up a review channel and then how true is the review. Even if one of you bought me one and sent it to me, maybe I would really like it. And it'd be fantastic because I think that this just plays amazing. This just now plays better than that, and that's a Yamaki built guitar. I really like this one. Slightly disappointed it's not got a maple neck. I was thinking about it when I was driving up in the car on the way home, on the way up the roads like for 6, 7 hours, whatever it was. I don't think it's the maple neck. I don't know because one of the things I like a maple neck. So it's a rosewood neck, which is good, but it seems very natural to me. This guitar for some reason, very like my Westone Raider. In fact, basically, was this 1985? My Westone Raider's 83. So it's made by the same guy, basically, or the same woman. There's not that many folk in Matsumoto. They're all kind of hand built, so it's the same guitar. The Raider's slightly pointier. It's only got one pickup. It's got a nicer paint job. I have no idea when my next gig is. Once we get gigs going again, I think we are going to go down an absolute storm because I saw a band and they were a big band. In fact, it was the headliners. They were on before Iron Python, but Iron Python were like a sort of joke headliners for when everyone's leaving, for the people to finish their pints to. And they played War Pigs. And they weren't very good at it at all. Not like us. Obviously I'm in a Black Sabbath tribute band, but we don't play War Pigs like our own version. We play War Pigs and it sounds like Sabbath playing. It doesn't sound like the record. It sounds like Sabbath playing it live. So it's improvised and stuff, but the feel is there. And they kind of didn't have it. And it was like, they kind of did the singing bit and everyone was singing along and chanting and going great. And then it came to the solo and the guy didn't go Da, 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 da. How can you not do that bit? I mean, do whatever you want after that, and you got to play that bit. Hey, man. So I don't know when the next gig is. I'll be getting posted up on the thing. I hope Bobby the drummer can make it though. I mean, we've actually without him, there's no band without him, but he's got a wee operation, and it's like I just hope it goes well, and really, really feel for you, man. I wish there was something I could do. I gave him a bass, but that's because I can fix guitars and talk shite. So I gave him a bass and talk shite. I can't help. I wish I could. You buy clippers, but how much did it cost you for the clippers? And I buy all my conditioner stuff in Lidl, so it's like, I don't know, £1 for a couple of weeks, something like that. I don't know. I unfortunately I buy fags too, so they're much more. Night, Rob. Catch you later, man. Thinking about you. The reason I haven't, if you phone me a couple of times, probably only once or twice, I can't answer. I've got my phone on mute all the time because no one ever phones me. But when I'm doing a video, that's the one time anyone would phone. So if you send me a text message saying it's me phoning you, I will answer. It's not that I don't want to talk to you. This man's like habit of Kyle G. And who's Kyle G? Jack Black. That's I'm quite as fat as Jack Black. I hope not. I've actually saw Tenacious D live, and they're quite funny. I used to like him, and then I liked the School of Rock thing. Basically, he stole that from me. I don't know how he saw it, but I was already at that time, a couple of years before that, I was doing guitar lessons for a bit. Rather than getting a job, I worked in delivering food for the Chinese on a Monday night. Tuesday night was the kebab shop, and Wednesday night was the chippy. And on Thursday and Friday, I did guitar lessons. I used to teach. This is going to sound perverse, but like sort of 10, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids, because they were so great to teach, because you would go, Nirvana, that's dead easy. It's dead easy. You'll be able to play it. And they would kind of go, and then 10 minutes later, they'd be playing it, and they were brilliant. Whereas if you try and teach somebody past 20 or 30, you go, right, so go here, go just like this, and they go, oh no, and they go, oh no, don't hold the pick like that. That's like, no, I think it's better to hold the pick like this. It's like, no, the reason it doesn't sound good is because you're not holding the pick right. I think I've just pulled it like this anyway. And it's like, whereas if you've got like a kid who's like 10 or 12, you just go, just tell them to do that, it's easy, and they believe you. Whereas if you try and tell somebody in their 20s or advancing that, they go, it can't be easy, must be difficult. Could you write it down? And it's like, whereas they just tell you how to do it. Tone here is a thing, definitely. That was my excuse for years. To be honest, I used to get it all the time years ago, but haven't had it recently when it's like pure get a haircut. I heard that maybe 5 years ago, and it was like, wow, I've not had that since I was, 20. Used to get it all the time. Is it on your back out? It's like, you get comb overs. Can you get a comb up? Like, so somehow make it come up the back. I mean, I'm just, the reason I haven't had a haircut is because I'm scared it doesn't grow back. Plenty of people my age are follically challenged, and in my hair, it's started receiving a bit at the sides, but not that much. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think it's more than it was, but it was always kind of, don't think about it. It's going grey. I don't mind it going grey. I'm quite happy that if over the next 10 years my hair looks exactly the same as this, apart from it's silver. That's cool. I mean, maybe grow a moustache to go with it. Let me hear you. Hey, Abraham. I don't recognise you. There's some new people on tonight. That's lovely. It's like they obviously don't know what this is all about. This is all about me drinking Bucky and talking rubbish rather than actually anything that's important or that you're going to enjoy. I'll play some guitar. It does make a difference having hair in a band, man. It's like, I do feel sorry for people who are bald anyway. But when they've actually got hair over their head and they've got it short, come on, man, grow it. It's like Eric Clapton used to be cool. Other people must think the way I do as well. I remember when I 98. So all my pals listened to Oasis and whatever was about round about that time. And I was the one with long hair, and we went down to see Ozfest. I don't know how I managed to talk two of my pals into going down Ozfest 98, and we're on the bus, and it was like, all these people with hair like mine, and then it was like, this is great. And then going back to then, by the time it got everyone started going to sleep, they would tie their hair like a ponytail, and they all had it shaved and at the sides, so the hair looked the same as mine, apart from when they did this, and I was just like, aliens. There was very the number of people in that biker pub, which I'm sure there must be biker pubs up here as well, but down in Colville, the number of I just totally you almost couldn't pick me out of the crowd. So everybody looked exactly the same as me. It's like it's quite bizarre. I'm the one with long hair, and it was like just bizarre, man. Very even tone. Actually, it was sounding good when I first picked it up, but the bridge pickup was sitting with the thinner strings sitting like that, and the neck pickup was too low, and it was just 2 seconds with a screwdriver. See the difference it made? It just. The thing is, I've got an Aria Urchin, which is an amazing looking guitar. It's like the BC Rich that BC Rich never made, and it was always missing. No, I bought it. It's got the original neck pickup and the bridge pickup. I didn't like the sound of it. I looked at it and it had wee T's melted into the plastic, and I got more for selling the Gibson pickup that was in it than I paid for the guitar. So I ended up 20 quid up, and I had an Aria Urchin, which is a couple of years before this, flame maple top, ridiculous, no bridge pickup now, for minus 20 quid, and I put one of these in it, and it sounded rubbish. So that's why I don't really play that guitar very often. Yeah, the Aria Urchin, there's three, I think there's actually four. There's a U60, which is the basic one, kind of like this. It's just, you get it black, red, and white sort of thing. And then you get the Deluxe, which is the one I've got, which is gold hardware. And it's got it's got the deepest quilt top I've ever seen on a guitar. We're talking kind of, you know those PRSs you see? Kind of like that, apart from it's like a BC Rich shape thing. And the thing is, it's got it on the back as well. It's like, and it's so deep. See when you sit it like that. I've taken photos, and it's like, if you've ever been out in a boat, see when you're going over a sandy, it's like sandy in below, and it's maybe 6 feet deep, and you can kind of look down, you can see where the sand is kind of like in waves. It looks almost exactly like that. So at certain angles you look at it, it looks like the knobs are floating on top of water, and 6 inches below that there's a sandy base. That's how deep it is. Fantastic. But I've not got the right bridge pickup in it. The Gibson wasn't right either. The neck pickup sounds great. It's like the original MMK45, and I put in what I'm pretty sure is one of these, like the Blade ones. It doesn't work. It doesn't sound as good as this. And basically the rest of the guitar is sort of the same. Yeah. It's an Aria ZZ, yes. As you can see, which it's not going to focus on ever. But actually, in fact, to be fair, on the camera, it's actually in sort of like AC/DC Powerage type writing. It's sort of focusing on it. The Blade Runner is obviously, because it's got blade pickups. It's got a Caller as well. I've been looking. I was always looking to get back my Aria ZZB, which is the bass version. Turquoise in the middle, dark blue on the outside, sort of sunbursty type thing. And I got the exact same one back 20 years later. And I've been looking at the guitars, and it's one of those things I was always going to get one. And then Wayne Slapper, he's got a ZZ Custom, which is basically a few years older than this. Yeah. And it's got, the blood splatter you see on quite a lot of modern guitars. It's got that, but it's 1983 or something. So it's got the blood splatter on it. And the reason he bought that is because he found out he had diabetes. So he's pricking his finger to get blood samples to do his insulin thing. And so it seemed like the obvious one, and he was like, pure amazing. And then he's picked this up last year, maybe at the start of this year, even because he's got basically exactly the same guitar, apart from it doesn't have the blade pickups. It's got normal pickups. It doesn't have a Caller. It's got a Floyd Rose, and it's got the blood splatter thing on it. But it fits in really well with his having the diabetes thing, which was touch and go. That's not a good thing. And then it was like he was going up here. Oh, it means I've got to get like a, I've got to check my insulin and all this stuff. I was up here. Oh, right, okay. See, because you get diabetes, does that mean you get like maybe get like a disabled pass it download? Oh. And then it's like, a couple hours later, it's up here. Yeah, we get the disabled camping at download. And I'm his carer, which means basically I've got to know how to inject him with the insulin on, and basically just if he collapses, fireman's lift to the medical tent immediately. So we get like a special wristband, and actually it worked out quite well for me. And it was a sort of it made it less bad for him, basically. Not just slightly less better, but for me it was up here. Woo! And it's like when you get the disabled camping at download, you're camping on Donington Racetrack, and you can drive the car right up to the tent on the racetrack. The bit we were camping on was, the red and white stripes going around the corners, right on that. And it's like you can unload the car, build the tent, put all the bags and stuff back in the car, take the car to the car park, which is only a couple of 100 yards away. Plus, it's only a few hundred yards to get to the actual main door, which is fine. And you do feel a bit guilty waiting. The toilets are so much easier to get to. You do feel a bit of a guilt pans. I was waiting, for one of the toilets in the disabled area, and then a guy came up with like one leg, and he had a leg missing, and it's like, on you go, man. It's like, and he's like, no. And it's like, I did feel quite guilty about it, but I mean, the way Download are looking at it is you can't have somebody dying there, so we're willing to give you one of those tickets. I'm sure, Billy. I'm sure there are still rock and biker pubs. I just don't know where they are. My pal Scott was telling me, Scott from the Saturday videos. There's one. Is it Kilmarnock? He says it's like that, and apparently they do a dance, and I'm picturing the dance in Tommy when he's like flying over on the hang glider, da, 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 da. And they're all kind of doing. You get the bikers on the beach, and then you've got the teddy boys next to them doing their dance, and it's like, have you never seen Tommy? Oh my God, Tommy are amazing. Yeah. Crazy diabetes stories. Well, it's sort of crazy, but it was like a every cloud is its silver lining type thing. Because you said obviously mine was feeling a bit down. It's like, yeah, it's pretty tough. It's now got like we got past a bit of the Q and baby metal. Is that pure? Oh, you can't come in. And Brendan's like, he lifted his arm up. He's got like a robot type Terminator insertion on his arm, and it's like immediately come in, up here, hey. Even though I was actually drinking a bottle of Bucky in the queue, and the security guard took it off me, and Wayne's like, pure, oh, but he's got like his sensor thing for injecting, and then immediately like, go. Hey Scott, I just mentioned you 2 seconds ago. I think your ears must have been burning. I don't think I called you a dick. I think it's all right. I think it was a nice thing I said. Probably, maybe. You'll find these all the time. This was one that's going to slip through the Blade Runner because it's not the normal one, so it's not going to come up in searches. But it's basically exactly the same, apart from it's got like blade pickups, a Caller, and it says Blade Runner in the headstock. For me, it's like, not that I'm a massive Blade Runner fan, like the film. I never really understood it. Yes, Scott, you're obviously listening. So whatever that biker bar was, that's what we were saying. We need to play there in the Sabbath band. Yeah, it is Scott from the vid. Yeah, who did an awful lot better. It's amazing that I had a problem trying to convert the files because they were too big to fit onto my PC so I could edit them. So basically, they've got to go out entirely, completely unedited because I can't edit on my laptop because it's not powerful enough. But obviously, I'm recording them on the laptop. Blah 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 blah. But Scott did awful well in the last videos. I think maybe been watching the previous ones. I was kind of like pure like an interviewer rather than talking all the time. It was like pure. Obviously, got the hang of it. Well done, awesome. There are another 3 think there's another 3 we did. I got 2 stones. No, I didn't. I mean, I then had to go up the road. But no, it's like Scott's brilliant. I was actually talking about you earlier on, so I'm not going to talk about you now. So you'll have to skip back, and I'll get another review somewhere. Yeah. So I actually have not done too badly. I mean, all hail the Bucky. Actually, the Bucky saved me a few times, and we're going to see Iron Python at about 4 o'clock. We were in this gig festival thing, and I was, you know, you get to that stage where it's like all your energy is just spent standing up and not puking. And I was like, we went and got a kebab, and after the kebab, it was like I got a slight lift because it was really spicy. And then we tanned a bottle of Bucky between the two of us, and then it was like when I'm back, it was like, yes, and it was brilliant. The pub in Kilmarnock was called Fanny's by Gaslight. Yes, that the name's ringing a bell. And it kind of, I'd imagine it's. I see the first time I met Wayne, he came up for a Rush Fest in Bathgate. And there's a place in Bathgate called the Dreadnought, and it's in fact, the whole place, Bathgate, is very similar to Colville, even though they're 400 miles apart. Like old mining town, kind of in the middle of nowhere sort of thing. And they've got like our biker / rock pub. It was a similar sort. Everything was a similar. The cash converters and that was really bizarre. How similar two places could be. But I mean, I do really like Colville. It's hilarious. And Wayne, because he's the bin man, that sounds like a really derogatory term, but he knows everybody. I mean, and the first time I went to Download, I got free tickets, and they were VIP as well, because he did the bins for all the farms round about. Downloads on all the farms round about. In fact, one of them, first time I went down, he got them off the farmer. His name was George, who rented out 2 fields for the car park. So they've got the free tickets, VIP path. We met the guy. I parked my car in my own field on the other side of the farm. Like, so there's like, if you imagine there being a hill, Downloads here. He went over a temporary bridge thing to get to the main car park, which is here, which went up a hill. There was another field, half a mile long, the farmhouse, and then the rest of the farm was on the other side of this hill. And I parked my car on this side of the farmhouse. And then when we went in, met the guy, got the tickets, he gave us a lift in his quad bike. It was like a wee golf buggy quad bike type thing, right up to the gate. Went in, and on the way out, I had to walk across the car park, walk across the field, said goodbye to Wayne. He went home, and I sat in a field, which was like a mile square, on my own. I could sort of hear the music in the distance, and I just slept in the car. It was fantastic. No longer remotely bikery. Oh man, that sounds awful. Alright, so Scott, you've just joined in. Look, Blade Runner, a ZZ, 1985 ZZ Blade Runner, and this is a Caller, but it's actually a Caller, not a fake Caller, and it seems much better than the one that's on. I'm not going to say that because I'm probably going to sell the A20. Oh, Charlie's going to turn off unless I can find the right button. Laughing. But I'm actually finding it quite bizarre how quickly I've totally just bonded with this guitar instantly. It's fantastic. It's exactly what I like. Maybe because it's dead similar to the Raider, but the other one I got, the A20. It's lovely. It's great. I love the Stage series, but it's not quite. This one's just got something. Unfortunately, it's black. I'm not a big black guitar fan. I don't know if you can really see. It's really dinged up. I actually had I was up there to said to Wayne's, it looks like it used to have stickers on it. He had one sticker and a big ZZ Top sticker, like covering the whole top of the guitar. I think it was kind of folded around the outside. Feels like it's a ZZB. I'm sure Kilmarnock's lovely. You sit there and eat your Killie pies. I've never worked in Kilmarnock. I don't know. I don't know much about him. I don't know much about Kilmarnock. It's south, at least I know that now. Yes, the M77 go down. Not the most interesting. It's pretty annoying how close to Glasgow you can get onto a really boring road. And I'm sorry, Kilmarnock, but the M77 is really boring. You kind of you leave Glasgow and then it's like immediately after about 2 miles there's a massive bastard hill, which is fine when you're in an unloaded car. But if you're driving a truck or something that's rubbish, and then you just get like a really boring bit, and it's like you're in Scotland and it's boring. Doesn't happen very often on a road. I mean, all the M8's a bit like that as well. That's why I always go the M9. Yeah. So I've been on for an hour and 35 minutes. I'm amazed I'm still awake. I'm the fifth night drinking. I reckon as soon as I hit stop on this, I will be asleep 30 seconds later. Well, maybe I should have a shower. Actually, I've not admitted this, but actually about 3 weeks ago, when I was really hot and sweaty after the gig, I actually took the bottle of Bucky into the shower with me, and I was drinking it in the shower just to get rid of the sweat, and it made it really easy to peel off the label. But I've never, ever, ever drank in a shower before, but honestly, give it a go. It's rocking. Yeah. Of course, we're Scott. Yeah, I used to wear a kilt playing with Jesse. The guitarist didn't, because he had an Adidas tracksuit that had tartan 3 stripes on it, so that was fine because he was a big Adidas fan. But me and the keyboard player wore kilts, and I would definitely wear one to. Yeah, I'm wearing a kilt. It's a camouflage one. You just can't quite see it. Yeah. No, the reason I'm not. I was going to wear a kilt to go. Last time I went to see Civet in China, I was going to wear a kilt on the plane, and I chickened out. The problem with the kilt is that the kilt I've got is like, mine's pure historical. It was my grandpa's scout kilt. So you're talking, it's probably 100 years old, but it's like a big woolly thick thing. So it's like, see if it's hot, obviously the sweat could just run freely down the inside of your legs and down into your socks. But yeah, no, kilts are rocking. I mean, the ultimate outfit is I'm more for the Scotland rugby top, kilt, big thick socks and hiking boots, or cat boots. That's the Tartan Army attire, even though I'm not into football. But I mean, if there's an army, if someone said, which army would you have to join? But it would be the Tartan Army. The Tartan Army being the Scotland fans who go to see like football games in Europe and stuff like that. And it's like the Tartan Army, they will destroy your village, but there'll be no fighting, and anything that is broken, they'll either fix or pay for the following day. So it's like, and they'll be incredibly noisy, but it's like it's kind of like a pride thing to be like pure unbelievably unruly, but you'll never find as soon as any one of the Tartan Army starts kicking off or being annoying to anyone else, immediately the rest will no, get back in here. You're not going to annoy the locals. It's only just I think going commando is part to, well, to be honest, I didn't when I was playing in Jessie Ray, because the kilt I had, as I said, was my grandpa's one. I was a little bit fat for it, so I kind of had it held up with string, and there was a big hole here. So if I didn't wear pants, you could pure see a big bit of white thigh, and I thought that was too much, so I did actually wear pants. I'm sorry, which is wrong. I'm not old enough to know the Bay City Rollers. I'm sure they've got a song. I remember them. So I Married an Axe Murderer, which is by a film by the guy Austin Powers, Mike Myers, and he plays himself and he plays his dad, and his dad's Scottish because I think his dad in real life is Scottish, and he's like, his brother's got a massive heat. It's a hilarious film. It's one of those films that just kind of sneaks under the radar. I bought it in DVD for £1. Really, really worth a shot. He's good at the Scottish accent. I've completely forgotten the point of what I was saying. Actually, I've started losing it with a Bucky. Yeah, but they did there was a bit where at the wedding that it's great having that thing where I could read what we were talking about. And they've got a song that actually, apparently one of the songs I wrote for Crankenhouse sounds The first one I wrote sounds like it's kind of. They've got a song that goes dun 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 dun. I don't know which song it is. I don't know how you get haggis stains. Maybe that's why it's tartan, because haggis doesn't stain. It's so dry that I don't see how it could possibly really apply itself to anything. Even if you took like a handful of haggis and rubbed it on your trousers, I think, to be honest, it would 10 minutes later you would be able to just scrape it off like a credit card or something. Shangalang might be the song. Who invented the flat cap? That's a question. I don't know. You get like still game actually. So those flat caps, I would say, Grandpa Brun is what I always knew it from. Look up the Bruns, Broons, which is like it was a one-page comic strip that was in a Scottish newspaper called the Sunday Post. It might still be in it. No, Cockneys are London, not us. But look up the Bruns and Oor Wullie, which is Oorwullie. Yes, but with no E. Broons. It's not like a TV series. It's just like a comic strip thing, and what everyone for the last 40 years at Christmas, whenever you were struggling to buy a present for somebody, like a relative, like an aunt or an uncle, didn't know what they're into. You just buy them a Bruns book, which was a compilation of all the one-page Bruns cartoons that were in the Sunday Post that year. Get yourself a Bruns book. Hilarious. Whenever a hot, sweaty day at work, I put on an album, pour a cool bath, pour a cider, down that one and get another, take that along with an ashtray, and don't come out till the album's done. Well, that's a fan. Where are you? XXX Paps. I don't actually have a bath. Shocking. I actually promised, well, Simmet's not on here, I promised that when she moves in here, I will build her a bath. Instead, I've got a big shower. But see the shower pressure here? I forgot. When I moved here, it's like, because I'm right at the bottom of the campses, Andy Capp was quite funny as well. Bruns is a similar sort of thing, but Andy Capp must be English. I've definitely seen some Andy Capp. It was quite funny. I don't know. There's this funny thing. There's the one-page cartoon things. It's like I don't know when the flat cap came out. It's quite funny when you see people thinking they're cool now. You know, like with our. I'm going to offend people here. Where it's like they've got their Starbucks and they sit in Starbucks with their Apple computer and they've got their big jumper and their flat cap and their beard and they listen to REM. You know, sorry, not me. But I do remember there being an Andy Capp. The exact same idea. I think he was probably in the back of a newspaper every Sunday or whatever. And then at the end of the year, you would get like the compilation thing that you gave to folk that you didn't really know what to buy them for Christmas. But it was definitely a similar sort of thing. Kind of, I suppose I used to like Garfield as well. Right, an hour and 43, and there's still 17 of you watching, man. You must all be mad. So, I don't have a flat cap either, but they do sell them in Newcastle, because I remember I went on a stag do probably about 10 years ago, and on whatever day it was, everyone went and got a haircut. I don't know what I was doing. Maybe I was asleep. And everyone went and got a haircut. I didn't get a haircut, obviously. And everyone bought the flat caps in charity shops. So everyone had a flat cap, apart from me, because I wasn't there for whatever reason. I don't know whether I was asleep or not. Willy Wacker in Germany. 20 flat caps. Kingdom of Fife. I was going to say, why I? But actually, I should just end every sentence with eh. Yeah, no, I was like, I know Fife well. Good. The Kingdom is rocking, but just slightly too far away. I can't really go there drinking or anything like that. It's like it's too much of a trek. But I've got a couple of pals up there as well. Willy Wacker. Listen to Nickelback in Starbucks. Do you have the jumper though, and the iPad? Not the iPad. You've got to have the Apple computer. and it's got to, well, basically, kind of looks like this one, but it's got if it doesn't have the light up apple in the back, then you can't be in Starbucks drinking that, and you've got to listen to whatever. I'm really, that's like cool folk, and that's the problem I've always had with music. I've never been cool. All the bands I've liked have never been cool. It's like, that's why I think baby metal, I don't think it's possible for somebody to like baby metal and Oasis, because Oasis, the only thing they had was they were cool, and things like baby metal, Deep Purple, Black, they're never cool. They can't possibly be cool no matter what. So I'm going to play a bit more because I'm getting drunk now. I'm going to play a bit more Twiddly Twiddly. And I'll see if the caller holds tune. Any requests? I think I replied to you. Yes, I meant to say, hey Alex, how's it going? The reason I've not replied because I've been down on the pistol last week, so I've been sort of liking comments on my phone, but my phone's really crap and ancient. If anyone wants to donate a phone or swap it for a guitar, the pedal I use is called a Moore Drummer, and I paid, they're about 70 or 80 quid new, which is really expensive. I think I played. You might be drunker than me. That's fighting talk. Mind you, if you're drunker than me, that probably explains why you didn't read I'm pretty sure I replied to you, or at least I tried to. It's a Moore, Mooer drummer pedal, and it's a mini pedal. I don't want to pick it up because I'll have to disconnect the cables out of it. And basically all it does is, and there's like, you can't program it as such. It's just got banks. It's got, I don't know, 10 banks of 10 sounds. It's not 10 or 10 in this situation. And you can speed it up, slow it down. There's a tone. What's the other one? Volume. Yeah. So you get like three controls. You get tone, which makes it sharper. And then and you just turn it on. That's maybe a bit fast for rock. But there's lots of sounds. So whatever this bank is, I don't know what the banks are. You get so you just kind of, it's not like a programmable drum machine. I couldn't get around the drum machine because I didn't want to know how to work it. Hey, you just play along with it. I don't know what Podtech would say. It's not a drum machine. It's like a glorified click track, really, for someone who can't be bothered programming in a drum machine or choosing anything. It's just like, I'll just try that, and it's like you can speed it up and slow it down, but that's kind of it. And it's like you go, is that the sort of sound I want? Maybe. And it's like, to fit that, I'm going to use a different distortion sound. Oh, clean? No. Maybe pick up single coils. Catch it in the belly, yeah. Heavy metal, yeah. Not heavy metal. Oh, I forgot, yeah, you're right, Podtech, the live stream for some reason, even though I'm still using the same mic, which you can actually see because I've got the camera in the wrong angle, it doesn't like. So basically what you're hearing just now, even though it sounds shit, is Hendrix quality amazing. Honestly. Actually, this is the first Carol I've ever actually played. It does two dive bombs. Up to me. Goes up to as well. Nope. Too drunk to do that. Oh, I wish I could do. Sorry, Alex, I wish I could do a tribute to Dusty. I don't think I know any ZZ Top at all, unfortunately. I wish I could. I mean, that's the piece. The guy, apparently, I think it basically just died because he was old, I think, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but he died in his sleep. So at least it wasn't like a pure suffering for many, months or whatever. Yeah. Way to end it on a high note, Alex. Cheers. Yeah. All right, people. I wish if I could play. The thing is, it's one of those things that I don't want to try and attempt to play. So we'll try. Yes, I can't remember that. Yeah, hey Kim, that's fine. Whenever, yeah, a t-shirt. I'm looking forward to a t-shirt from somewhere I don't like. You're down in Canterbury, so it'll be fine. I never got a t-shirt with a picture from the guy from Manchester who was going to take a picture in front of Noel Gallagher, my hero's house. I thought that was great humor. Yeah. Oh, it's like you might not be happy if I play one. I wish I could play. I don't know. The thing is most annoying. It's actually stayed in tune well enough because I'm drunk. I wish I could. I mean, if I don't want to. So, damn. My favourite one. We used to play two songs in Cranking House, and I can't remember them. It was a struggle to learn them. I just can't remember what they go like, which is pure terrible. No, I don't want to annoy anyone. But, yeah, so thanks everyone. I can I can remember how you play all the young dudes. Get requests. Like, see, if you'd asked me when I was sober, I could totally play not any entire Bowie songs, no matter what, but I could definitely play some riff. I know there's one in D, but I can't remember what the song is. It's pure pathetic. G to D's not enough. Hey, Dava. I got quite far with the Red Dwarf team. I can't remember what key it's in though. See, all the notes in the right place, but none of the right notes. Like a golden heart in need of rescue. Waiting on that sweet charity. What a chance for the drums in the right key. There's to go. Gonna meet up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. Here I go again on my own. Walking down the only road I've ever known. After I was bound to walk alone. Oh, I made up my mind. This is so out of tune. I ain't wasting no more time. Here I go, again on my own. Walking down the only road I've ever known. So just stop. Just stop it. I've got through that before with a caravan. Oh, what? Oh, right. No, I couldn't get very far. I wish I could. See if I was sober, I've got a chance of doing it. But I've played all the right notes, but in the wrong order. The first band I was in, Carnival, the drummer was kind of a little bit. I made a total arse of it. I'd only played bass for a year, and they were like proper rock stars. And I was like, no, I'm playing. The guitar said I'm playing the wrong notes. I was like, no, I'm playing all the right notes, just not necessarily in the right order. And the drummer was literally fell off the drum stool, pissed himself laughing. No bad whiskey in the jar there. That could have been what it sounded like. Maybe I did play the right notes. Anyway, coming up for 2 hours, I managed to stay awake. It's like, I'm not going to accept whoever it was that said last time. Down the whole bottle. This is 5 days in a row drinking, so I'm absolutely rubbered, and there's no way I'm even going to be awake tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining in. It's great. I'll be honest, I had a on the way home. Everything was going great, and then I hit just past before you got to Glasgow, like before you got to Hamilton, there's roadworks, and it was down to stop. Stop, right, full stop, and then doing 10 mile an hour, and then stop for miles for about half an hour. I thought, I'm going to get off here at Motherwell, and if I get off at Motherwell, go to Motherwell, I'll be able to find my way home. I know I'll be able to just aim at the campsies. And I made a right arse and I went to somewhere called Bar Hill, which I've seen on a map, but never been to. Drove through that, and it took me like an extra hour to get home, which is probably not that much. I don't doubt that I'm a lightweight. Yeah, but I mean, we're talking heavy drinking, not just like all day, not drinking at night. We're pretty much talking about drinking from lunchtime on. Wayne took us up some local sightseeing spots in Colville, like during the day, and it was like we were up to like a mad tower thing on top of a hill. So it was like half a mile walk, stuff like that. And we got to the top, and it's like, yeah, this is great. I can see why he's doing it, so we don't just sit and get pissed. And then Peter's out with the shots. So that's like top of the hill, shots of whiskey. Oh, let's go down, go up the other hill, down up the other hill, shots of whiskey. So you end up here flummoxed. And when you're actually close, you're kind of getting near that. I gave up. Years ago, I've not bought that in it was the last time it was download, but I do have a couple of thought, but sometimes a wee sneaky bit of, why the guitar chart? Maybe as a wee tip. Right, thanks very much. And even Tony, I don't recognise your name. I'm sorry if you've talked to me lots and I've missed it. But so any questions you gave me during the week, I sneakily did all my videos in advance, thinking that if I didn't put any videos out, people would maybe come up and steal all my guitars. Not you lot, obviously, but some unscrupulous folk. I trust all you lot. thanks very much. Yeah, Alex, the thing is, I'm just going to sleep all day tomorrow. You're going to be out cutting someone's heads like this. Which is all right, I suppose, as long as you don't cut your own fingers off or anything like that. Thanks very much. And it's like, again, it's like the 2,000 sub things. It's nuts. And it's like all the people, thanks to all the people who don't, you don't need to comment or anything like that. So I don't know your names, but they're obviously, you exist and you're a person. It's not a number on a chart. And it's fantastic. It's quite humbling. I still don't really know how to deal with it, if that makes sense. It's kind of funny. It's like the fact that people are willing. There's still 14 people. It's like still people that are willing to watch me talk absolute pish. And it's like I don't. Basically, I'm doing these gigs to more people that I generally have played gigs to, probably more than the average amount of people have been. Maybe I don't know, 20 or 30 gigs I've played. Kind of I've YouTube to more than that, and I'm talking about the 14 that's managed to make it this long, not like the 100 views I get on pretty much every video. It's like amazing, and even thanks to Scott for being brilliant. It's really exciting. It's just like having so much. I don't know. It's pure overwhelming, and I pure love it. And it's like life is good, man. It's like you've dug me at a hole. Absolutely love it. All right, Leon. Cheers, man. I want to say Andy, but that might be offensive. I'm sure that's your name. But you're fantastic. I love you, man. I think the stream thing when you watch the catch up, it's not my. I don't have any control over it. I think it takes like till tomorrow before you can watch it. So it's like kind of you have to watch it live if you want to see it on a Sunday. I think by tomorrow night it'll be on. Yvonne Stripple, your name does ring a bell, and giving me a one-letter comment is great. And Neon Tetrahedron, I'm going to get onto your bass with its triple bucker. I just trying to. I got rid of some guitars down. I'm going to do a video in Australia. That's about as far away as you could possibly be from here. Well done. So just now it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. It's like, wow, impressive. Love you all. Thanks very much. And I'll see you later. As usual, I just said, love you all, see you later. I've now got to turn it on. I need to get one of these that's rechargeable rather than running. Manage me if you want. I don't know what to do. I don't have anything to manage. So I tried setting up a Patreon thing, but my mind just goes. Well, I've been drunk for the last 5 days, so basically anything I say now is completely. I mean, you will. I'll probably give up playing this guitar's now out of tune, so I'll just go to bed. And thanks so much, everyone. I love you all. I don't really know what to say, but I love you all. Rock on. And did I press the button? Nope. See, how'd you end it? It's still running. I pressed the button. Your stream will stop immediately. Right. Rock on. I love you all. Bang. No, it didn't work.